behavior change happens on the good days. This is a concept that I've had floating in the back of my mind for a while now, so I thought I would make a video and share some thoughts on that. So, for the past just about 11 years of my life, I've been on a very tumultuous journey with concussion side effects, messed up hormones, which results in a lot of highs and a lot of lows. It is frustrating when you feel like you're being flung back and forth all the time and there isn't really a solid, grounded baseline for things. So, how do I move forward with all that when I'm at the mercy of a lot of things I can't control, with moods and emotions, days that are bad that I can't. Whatever it is, I can't. I'm not moving the needle forward in working towards who I want to become. I'm just trying to cope with life, and certain moods make it very difficult to make healthy choices. Certain moods make it basically impossible to make healthy choices. And so trying to navigate all of that for me has led to this thought of behavior change happens on the good days. So the idea of 2 steps forward, 1 step back kind of thing, where if you can take advantage of the good days, then they will sustain you through the bad days, or at least prevent you from falling as far. So yeah, you're always on the right trajectory. Overall, you're still trending upwards, even with the setbacks. So, taking advantage of those good days. For me, that basically means, ideally feeling like myself. Today's a pretty good day in that regard, but mental clarity is the huge aspect for me, with years of mental health issues that have thankfully resolved. Getting my mind right in order to really be able to reflect on who I am, who I want to be, where I'm at, where I want to go. With behavior change, it's mostly a mental game. You can certainly force yourself to do things. You can try to do it all with willpower and be disciplined every day, regardless of what you feel. It is possible. It's very, very hard, but it is possible. So, if that works for you, then yeah, go for it. Use pure willpower. But for everybody else, navigating the ups and downs is really mostly a mental game, I think. So if I can internalize, who I want to be and the steps that will get me there on the good days, then that will help sustain me for the bad days, because a lot of behavior change basically stems from purpose. I think you really need to know why you're doing something, and you really genuinely need to want to do that thing. Just because you know something is healthy doesn't mean you're going to do it. Even if you know you should do something, it doesn't mean you've just internalized that importance and you're like, oh, okay, this switch has been flipped and I'm ready to go. Yeah, this leads to heart disease. Okay, I'm going to do this every day. I'm going to change my diet. Like, it doesn't just happen. It really comes down to you internalizing the value of it long term, internalizing the purpose, having a why behind everything that you're doing. And when you're in those bad days, for me, I'm not thinking straight. I don't have that mental clarity. I lose sight of the why. I lose sight of the bigger picture. But if I can reframe things and step back and know that, the bad day that I'm in is temporary, it's, if you can realize that that's part of a broader picture, that I know objectively I am trending in the right direction, it is 2 steps forward, 1 step back, then that gives me enough psychological distance and objectivity to know that, okay, this is just a little mini season that I'm in, it's going to pass, and it helps with self-compassion, just forgiving myself for making poor choices even when I could have done better. It takes away this pressure, it takes away guilt or shame or other negative aspects or feelings around those bad days, when especially if you have a string of bad days. For me anyways, it was very easy to beat myself up over things and then get inside my own head and feel like a failure, and I'm never going to get better, and I'm always just going to keep trending downwards, and not good thoughts. So the taking advantage of the mental clarity on the good days for me, again, allows me to have more compassion on myself, to kind of write things off as like, okay, I screwed up today, it was bad, but this is one day, we can take things one day at a time, and then gives me, again, time and space mentally to be able to internalize who I am and who I want to be. And for me, a lot of progress comes from making rules for myself on those good days, like long-term rules that I do actually stick to on the bad days, because when I make the rule, I'm in a good headspace. I've fully internalized the value of it, the importance of it. I've internalized that this is a thing that I want to be part of my identity, or part of something that I'm working towards. So I can internalize that on the good days, and that internalizing that purpose then holds up on the bad days, where I can still hold to those rules. It's funny, some of the internal struggles I have when I've made rules for myself and want to break them. Some I do, but usually that's because I haven't fully 100% committed to the rule. So most of the time I can actually stick to the rules that I make. So that's, I guess, the best way that I've found to stick to the choices that I want to make on the bad days is I have to, when I'm in a clear state of mind, make these rules, lay down the groundwork, and internalize the purpose behind it all, the value behind it all, so that when I lose sight of that, when I can't see that on the bad days, I know that's just because of the weird headspace that I'm in, this tainted lens that I'm looking through in life, and that if I just stick with the things that I've internalized on the good days, and know that I decided that in a good state, that's what's best for me, then it's a lot easier for me to make it through the bad days without screwing up too much, or without beating myself up too much when I do screw up. So yeah, those are some thoughts on good days, bad days, trying to make progress in both, trying to forgive myself, trying to make the most of mental clarity, getting clear on values, and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, hopefully that is interesting, helpful. I don't know. I'd love to hear your thoughts on behavior change, on motivations around that, on good days, bad days, whether you're able to keep things up on the bad days, whether you beat yourself up on the bad days like I do. I've certainly come a long way in that regard, thanks to some good days where, again, days like this where I can internalize even that, internalize that I do beat myself up on the bad days, and that's not good, and then I can work to counteract that on the good days. So yeah, 2 steps forward, 1 step back for me, thankfully, heading in the right direction. And yeah, those are my thoughts on some behavior change stuff.